You're listening to the official podcast of DanandHan.Wedding, the only official wedding podcast brought to you by the guest relations team. Get the latest event updates, prepare your RSVP response, and join in the excitement ahead of the big day. Find us online at DanandHan.Wedding/podcast or subscribe using your favorite podcatcher.
Hello there, welcome to DanandHan.Wedding, the official podcast brought to you by the guest relations team. We are online at DanandHan.Wedding/podcast. My name is Daniel Rosell. I will be the likely only host and presenter of this podcast. Looking at DanandHan.Wedding, there is 108 days to go at the time I'm recording this until the wedding of the year. Some would say the wedding of the century, some would say the greatest wedding of all time. It remains to be seen. Some updates in our inaugural episode. We're 108 days from the wedding, and we're also 18 days from the official kickoff of our US roadshow. We're going to Philadelphia and Dallas. The Philadelphia date is confirmed for the 23rd of May. We are going to be posting the venue as soon as we confirm with a couple of local bars where we're going to be hosting that. And then several days after that, we are going down to Dallas in Texas for the second US roadshow date. Worth pointing out that both of these events are, of course, like the entire wedding itself, by invitation only. That means you have to receive an invite to be invited. Some miscellaneous updates from the guest relations team. It's an extremely busy period for us. The Dan and Han Wedding social media accounts are taking the internet by storm, particularly Instagram, where we are closing in on the 300 follower milestone. I personally believe that will be reached before the end of today. We've surpassed the 250 follower milestone. I'm just looking at our Facebook page. The Dallas date is the 27th. Of May of this month, 4 days after our Philadelphia roadshow date. Yes, our social media accounts are thriving, one might say. We're seeing a lot of engagement on Instagram. Of course, we're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you check out our YouTube channel, you will be able to find all our promotional videos. I have a disclaimer in that we're not finished yet. We have an entire multimedia team here working on them, and there's going to be some more great vids coming up soon. And of course, on the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is where you are going to be able to access, if you're a virtual attendee, the global virtual chuppah stream. Of course, we have a lot of people attending the wedding from around the world, particularly from Ireland and the US. Many of whom are not Jewish. The chuppah is the canopy under which in a Jewish wedding the bride and groom, the actual wedding itself takes place. A little bit of a whole discussion as to how a Jewish wedding works. We're going to be posting some info on that through our social media channels as we get closer to the time. But yes, our YouTube channel is where we're going to be broadcasting by video. We're also going to be doing a global audio stream. We sent out invitations to our virtual attendees just before the weekend. A lot of people are not able to make the considerable journey to Jerusalem to be physically there. But of course, at DanandHan.Wedding, we are all about technology. And we're going to be streaming the wedding of the century, as I said, potentially the wedding of the lifetime, depending on who you ask, to our global audience of affiliates. And that is, of course, happening on the 22nd of August. There'll be an email telling the people that have signed up where to click on the link, but we'll also be putting it out on the news update page, which is DanandHan.Wedding/news. Just enjoying my morning coffee. Other updates from the guest relations team. So yeah, we have the US roadshow coming up very soon. It's a busy time, as I mentioned. The save the date card. So at the moment, we've sent out to approximately 200 people, as I said, around the globe via MailChimp. There has been a little bit of confusion. We're sending out pre-invitations. That means that we have been collecting postal addresses to which we will send the official save the date and invitations. So some people have reached out to us through our various support channels. And by the way, those support channels we're at DanandHan.Wedding /help desk. This is our ticket-based support system. staffed by our guest relations associates. We also have a phone number, and there's also WhatsApp. So really, if you want to get in touch, there's a question, you can even email support@DanandHan.Wedding. You have absolutely every means available on the planet to do so. But yeah, the save the date, and so those are going out this week. If you provided a postal address, that is wonderful. If you haven't done so, it's probably too late at this point, to be honest. We did send out a reminder email again before the weekend. But yes, we are going to be using our global network of postal fulfillment affiliates to get those cards into your mailboxes in Ireland, in Texas. I'm trying to think where else people are coming from. We've just learned very exciting news of a friend of mine from India who will be attending. So really the whole world is coming to Jerusalem. The only question remains, will you answer the call? Continuing with my little notepad here that I've opened up. Kaftan sizing issue. This is regrettable. The guest relations team operates a website, DanandHan.Wedding /guest relations. Should point out at this point that we do intend making an actual website at DanandHan.Wedding for other geeks at the root of that URL. Unfortunately, it hasn't been rolled out yet, but we expect that to take place within the next few days. So the guest relations website is where we're currently hosting various forums, which we need to make sure that such things happen, as the people who are allergic to shellfish are not served shellfish. They would not be served shellfish anyway because it's a kosher wedding. That was a bad example. But we are hearing about people's food allergies and passing that on to our catering team. There is a kaftan sizing form on that website. Now, many people have never heard of a kaftan, so let me just explain what that is. It's, at the wedding, there's going to be people we keep referencing in our promotional materials and our videos, biblical clothing. People might know it by a thobe, which is a Muslim, traditionally a Muslim outfit. There's also jalabiya, which is from, the kind of dress a lot of people in Morocco would be wearing. So there will be a lot of people attired in such garb. However, this is being coordinated centrally via guest relations, and it's important to point out that only those who have been specifically invited to partake in the kaftan wearing ceremony should complete that form. It's not for general use. We have received a number of erroneous, incorrect submissions, so don't use a form. Rabbi. We are still on the lookout for a rabbi. We have been running a Facebook campaign coming back to the whole biblical thing, there is a strong biblical theme current to the wedding. A lot of people have asked. We have explained what the logo is. So the logo is written, the seal, which is on all our profiles. It's very hard to miss if you're following. It's even the cover art for this podcast. It says Daniel and Hannah in Paleo Hebrew. So the Hebrew alphabet has evolved over the years, and the particular variety that was in use during the first temple period was something known as Paleo Hebrew. There's a chance that some of this information will be incorrect, that this is not exactly the script. It's quite a niche field of inquiry. There was a Canaanite script, which later evolved to a Phoenician script. So the difference between Paleo Hebrew and Phoenician is very, very small. The type font which we based the logo on was basically what we could find the most attractive font. I believe it's a Paleo Hebrew script, which comes after the Moabite script, but again, I could be botching all these epochs and historical dates. However, that is what it is. Suffice to say that it's a form of ancient Hebrew, and that there will be a biblical ancient theme, and that is specifically at my doing. So we are looking to complement that, a rabbi who pronounces in an ancient style. Now, it's an open debate. What is ancient Hebrew? We cannot resurrect people from the Bible to ask to speak to them, in which case it would probably be hard to speak to them anyway. Notwithstanding, we are aware that it is a debate that there is no one form of Hebrew that scholars universally consider the most authentic, modern, mimicking of the Bible. I have heard said many times that the Yemenite pronunciation, not the modern Yemenite. So as people move to Israel, there's a big Yemenite community here. It's only natural that various ethnic groups will find a common ground linguistically, phonetically, and that has certainly happened. So the there are some distinctive features of the Yemenite Hebrew. However, it should be pointed out that we are not specifically looking for a Yemenite rabbi. It can, in fact, be anybody who pronounces Hebrew with a certain style. That could be someone Syrian, for example. It could be someone from an Egyptian person who still speaks, in this way. So it's not as definitive or cut and dried as you might have said. We may have also inadvertently caused offense by saying no Ashkenazim need apply. We certainly have raised this internally with our social media staff. Suffice to say, this was written in jest, but that the campaign to find a rabbi is a very serious endeavor, and it's an ongoing one. We're currently interviewing a couple of candidates. Those who are interested should visit DanandHan.Wedding /news. You can find on there an RFP, a request for proposals. We are asking that people will send a short MP3. You can also reach out to the guest relations team WhatsApp. Of course, people here love WhatsApp, and add that number on WhatsApp and send a recording of yourself reading Hebrew if you think you are up to the task of being a rabbi at the venue. It's also worth pointing out that we are having a Rabbanut rabbi, so this wedding is being held under the auspices of Rabbanut Yerushalayim, the Jerusalem Rabbinate, who I must say, the Rabbinate is the rabbinical authority of Jerusalem. I must quickly add that they have been nothing but helpful in our dealings with them to date. They've been incredibly nice. So it's being conducted through the Rabbinut. Therefore, this person does not need to have smicha or to have passed to be like a licensed rabbi. Of course, it's always ideal, but those are the rough parameters of the search. Continuing, VIP club. There have been questions about the VIP club. Can I get to the VIP club? I've heard so much about it. I love to be in. Unfortunately, it is a select group of people. There's considerable overlap between the kaftan wearers and the VIP club entrance. Nothing you can do, to be completely blunt, is going to magically get you a VIP club invitation. Some people who are on the borderline we've reached out to and asked them to demonstrate their worth. However, that is a process being initiated from this side of the relationship, and we can't go into any further detail. The VIP club is going to comprise of there's going to be a VIP tent where the VIP club members will get access to. We are getting those cards, VIP club membership cards, printed at the moment, and those who have supplied a postal address. Important to state, if you've been told you're in the VIP club, and you will have been told that specifically through a member of our team, you need to make sure you've given us the postal address, because we need to get you a physical card. It's essential. Enough said about that. Social media accounts I've already mentioned. We're operating on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. We are really becoming most active on Instagram, should be pointed out. There's daily content going out to create unbelievable hype about the wedding of the century. And that's really all we have time for at the moment on this inaugural episode of DanandHan.Wedding podcast. This is the official podcast. If you hear of another podcast or another Facebook account pretending to be from the guest relations team or DanandHan.Wedding, it is a fake. And, given the massive worldwide interest in this wedding, potential that if someone hasn't started an imposter account that will happen. Suffice to say, it's not going to be us. If you have any questions, as I said, you can reach out to the guest relations team. They are at DanandHan.Wedding /helpdesk. You can also email support@DanandHan.Wedding, or you can send a voice call occasionally if the phone rings, or a WhatsApp to the number that we have provided, and I will just momentarily call that information up so I can give it to you. We're going to be operating a more professionally operated helpline closer to the date. It's going to include an incredible phone menu, the whole thing, a phone tree and answering system. You will have never seen anything like this before. But currently we're operating this number. It's 051 598 1228. If you are located internationally, you need to prefix to that number 00972 or use the plus symbol on your keypad. Until next time, thank you for listening to DanandHan.Wedding /podcast, and we look forward to keeping you in touch with updates from the guest relations team.